Bill Roberts Chevrolet Pace Truck rolls out. 17 Hickamo Super Stocks back behind him, led out by Johnny Finnewald, who's going to be on the pole. He may not come out of the pit area first, but he is your pole sitter. Michael Muskrat on his outside out of Stillwell, Oklahoma. Scrappy in the 164. Tony England, the Arkansas hot shoe from Walnut Ridge, Arkansas, starts inside row number 2 in the G1 with Gary Clark in the 4G. The Walker Rocket starting in 4th. Row 3 has a couple of Browns, Tim and Brian. Tim out of Stoutland, Brian from Purdy. They start 5th and 6th. Johnny Coates in 7th, and the Ditch Digger, Kenny Carroll out of Canterton, Missouri, to start in 8th. Stoutland, Missouri's Derek Brown starting P9. The birthday boy, Ted Welshmeyer out of Tibbetts, Missouri in the 21W. He rounds out our top 10. Logan Thompson and Jay Barnett. They sit back in 11th and 12th. Colton Borland start 13th. Frank Escamilla outside of him. Kevin Brown, Patrick West, and Caleb Brown will round out your field of 17 Hickamo Super Stocks. Well, we saw Johnny Finnewald during the heat races have a good run in his late model and then came out and power his way to the front in a super stock. Earns him the right to sit P1 for our 20-lap main event. And Johnny Finnewald has him coasting down the backstretch. Making everybody wait. If you're going to start this race, you're going to do it on Johnny Finnewald's terms. The Flash into the Lucas Oil start zone. Muskrat on the outside. We're underway with the Super Stocks. Back and forth, back and forth. Johnny Finnewald leads lap number 5. Tony Anglin gripping and ripping on the bottom side of the track, gets out in front. Johnny Finnewald better on the high side in 3 and 4. Gets way high that time, and Tony Anglin out by 3 car lengths after Johnny Finnewald got a little too loose up into the marbles in turns 3 and 4, and now Johnny Finnewald at risk of losing second away to Gary Clark, the Walker Rocket. Gary Clark out of Walker, Missouri, finished 5th here back on March 22nd. He would love to pick up back-to-back wins. He did it last night at Electric City. Losing ground, however, to Tony Anglin, down by 1.3 seconds. Gary Clark out in front of Johnny Finewald. That's a pass for position as Finewald had second, completing lap number 8. Gary Clark, however, owns it on lap 9. Cross flags in the air, 10 down, 10 to go. The 70 of Patrick West has gone a lap down, and Clark able to get around him. Finewald and Tim Brown do the same. And Gary Clark inching closer and closer to Tony Anglin. Gary Clark set on the pole of the Big Buck 50 last year. Came home with a 7th place finish. He couldn't believe he had earned the right to set on the pole for the Big Buck. Last year, Gary a 10-time winner, including 7 victories at Electric City. Gary Clark has a championship here at the Diamond and Dirt Tracks that came back in '06, and at the line, Gary Clark grabs the lead by 2 1/1000ths of a second. Now that he has cleared Tony Anglin, can the Walker Rocket kick in the afterburners and get away from the Arkansas Hot Shoe? With 5 laps to go, he just might get it done. Lead for Gary Clark now out to almost a second over Tony Anglin. Tim Brown in 3rd, and Johnny Finewald has fallen back to 4th. Two sticks in the air this time by as Gary Clark looking to complete lap number 18. 2 more circuits to go for the Walker Rocket. Over 100 feature wins for Gary Clark in that 4G. 3 championships going all the way back to 2001. He won races back here in '06 when he drove a modified to the track championship, and he will win again in Wheatland, this time in a super stock. Back-to-back nights, back-to-back wins. He does it in Butler, and now he does it in Wheatland. A spin in turn 2 on that final lap. But Gary Clark had already finished ahead of Tony Anglin by just over a half a second. And Gary Clark, after making a pass in the closing laps, holding off Anglin and Tim Brown, your top 3. Johnny Finewald in 4th. The ditch digger Kenny Carroll worked his way up to 5th. Derek Brown in 6th. Ted Welshmeyer, Michael Muskrat, Brian Brown, and Jay Barnett, your top 10.